Hello, hello, Sagi Joe. So, I'm gonna be reacting to another video here of Buakaw, who's one of my favorite fighters, and it's the K1 match back in 2004. The Japanese fighter, I can't remember their name, but if I remember it correctly, this is the second round. I kind of wanted to break down the fight and maybe perhaps read into the psychology of the fighters a little bit. I tried doing this full screen and my computer is just dog shit, so I had to do it kind of like on this kind of thing. So you're gonna have to see my recommended stuff, unfortunately. But I just gonna get into it. So 2 minutes 30. So about 30 seconds has passed between the beginning of the round and until now, and Buakaw has had a decent lead. Because Buakaw was a replacement for a fighter, it kind of seemed like he came out from nowhere. So, as a fighter who's sort of more established in that role or been more of a major proponent to the fight, you kind of don't respect that fighter because you don't know where they are. You kind of assume that they didn't work as hard as you did. You kind of assume that they just got lucky while I worked my way here, kind of idea. So that's something to keep in mind with a fighter. And Buakaw's Thai. This is in Japan. Fighter's Japanese. Very likely that the Japanese fighter also kind of looked down on Buakaw. I mean, he's taller than Buakaw, so he's physically like actually looking down on him. So you'll see the sequence when we move forward from this. I'm gonna just play the clip here. So good hook. So this is back in the beginning of kickboxing where they still were adapting to low kicks, and it's called kickboxing, but I'll be honest, there was a lot of kinds of kicks that they're not accustomed to that they didn't really like look into as well. Especially in the beginning here. Kick, not to say kickboxing didn't have any kicks, but there are certain kinds of kicks that they failed to utilize a lot. I found with a lot of fighters, but having said that, that does mean that it diminishes their fighting skills. It's like it's more of like you don't have it in your arsenal, so you might as well add it kind of thing. So it's a win more kind of situation. So a good click here, and then so it's a good hook. It's a really good hook to catch the foot, regardless of the power. However, you're gonna see what happens here. I'm hoping I can like full screen my laptop for once. Nope. Cannot. My computer cannot handle full screen, so I'm just gonna. It's motivation video. This is the what I. So you can't do that. You can't keep your ones against the rules. And it's just. I guess it depends on the rule set, but generally speaking, in a lot of fights, I wouldn't like that either. In general, when you're in such a vulnerable situation like that, I think that. Especially a vulnerable situation where you can really break something and really end someone's career, this is something that shouldn't be tolerated. There's knockouts and stuff. There's combinations. There's situations like that where you keep going and the ref has to make the call on whether or not to stop the fight. But something like this is just pure. It's just dangerous. Japanese fighter here could have just broken the legs. Put some serious damage on the knees, especially because when you have all your weight on one foot, when you get hit like that, the weight of your body is just on that one foot. It's not balanced. It's not something that the body is accustomed to, no matter how much you train. So, fighter, they kind of fast forward a little, but the Japanese fighter kind of just looks at Buakaw. I don't know how the clip is edited, but Buakaw, it kind of edits it because I can see that this Japanese fighter is actually kind of regretting his decision to do what he did. Just a little bit. He's kind of just like, it's just like, because he's not like owning it or it's just like, yeah, I did that shit. He's kind of just like, kind of second guessing what he just did. To be honest, that's what the look of the face looks like. To be honest, that's the vibe I get. And then, of course, angry Buakaw.
1ラウンドから積極的です。丸山さん。
And then, from this point onwards, the fight is... Well, I mean, this clip is edited so that it's one-sided, but the fight from some of the footage that I've watched does generally become one-sided because this is at the time where K1 was not accustomed to like clinching, the amount of knees. This is the first Buakaw fight actually, because they had to change the rules the next year because no one can handle like the clinching that the Muay Thai fighters had to go through, and the knees too. They had to limit the amount of knees because that was also something that they were not accustomed to, and a lot of kickboxer styles, I suppose. Well, it's kickboxing, so they don't use knees. So limiting it to one is a fair trade-off to give some balance to the sport. You have to remember K1 Sports is based in Japan.
精神的にだいぶ分の選手で2年前のファウルに負けた時とはまるで違うと思いますからね、すごく精神的にも成長してるし、今多分絶好調だと思いますよ。そうですね。しかしながらこの体重を破るためには生半可な努力ではダメ。パワー、リズム、スピードが大切。相手の気持ちをへし折ってこそ。
So that's another thing that a lot of fighters weren't accustomed to. Like in the clinches, sometimes when you clinch, you kind of just want to stall for a little bit and gather your breath too. It's a tactic to get some rest in between fights, and especially when both fighters are really going at it, you kind of just want to give it a rest a little. But a lot of times of Muay Thai fighting, they just keep going. The clinches are not something that you rest on. The clinches are something where you're trying to get advantage. You try to throw them, you're trying to sweep them, and throwing them. While it doesn't look like it's that much damage, a lot of times throwing can be very psychological, especially when you end up being thrown around a lot. It starts wearing you down, and your body, like you're throwing them down, right? So you're not just throwing them lightly. It's like lay in your bed and rest. No, I'm trying to put you on the ground. Eventually, that does affect like your back and stuff like that too. And the moment you start affecting, especially like the lower body, you take the power away from the legs, and the legs and the hips are where most of your power comes from, right? So even if you over time, if you keep targeting the legs, the punches and the kicks aren't as strong. So it's something to keep in mind when you are fighting. Generally speaking, it depends on the fighter that you're fighting. If you have a fighter who's very good at protecting their legs, then maybe you have to go for the body and the head. It all depends on the fight. But generally speaking, you always want to be able to target the legs at least a little bit, slow them down a little bit, and take away the power that they're taking away the power base that they may have. Hook and then clinch and knee to the, I believe it was a liver shot. So you're gonna go down when that happens. It's at this moment, I'll be perfectly honest with you, where the fighter went from I probably shouldn't have done that shit to I definitely shouldn't have done that shit. There's a little bit of regret on the because Muay Thai fighters are very unforgiving. They'll just keep going at it, and once you show a weakness, they're just gonna keep going. So pretty good parry, using the right arm to prevent sort of like a hit, and then you're trying to get into the leg. Hitting behind the knee like that is very painful. Very, very painful. And again, you're taking away a lot of power and a lot of balance out of your opponent when you hit them somewhere like that. Especially with a fucking shin, a Muay Thai shin. Whew. And of course, you're gonna fall when it happens. The body language is, it seems like, oh fuck. Based on the body language of this guy, he looks to his coach. He's like, "What is there something I can do?" So this guy is gonna attempt to do something. So he tries a kick, and it's countered by a nice body shot. That throwdown is more of a I got you throwdown. It's like you aren't winning this shit throwdown. I got you, and you are not going away. Fighter for fighting, even though he could tell that he's sort of like in a disadvantage right now, and you can. So the guy is trying to avoid the body shot to the knee, but what he does is he turns it around and using especially your buttock area, the glutes, and taking a knee there, it could also be just as bad because again, that kind of pain. It's hard to deal with when you're fighting, and it over time will start hurting, and then Buakaw gets a couple of good shots, I think. Again, that throw is dominance throw. It's like I am in control here. I'm dominating you kind of throw.
いや、もう4ラウンドぐらいじゃバテないでしょ。バテませんかね。
Because you can see that those front legs are strong, and the gentleman here, well, he's trying to counter, right? But what Buakaw is leaning back a little, doing a good job of parrying and countering or avoiding the hit, and then countering with a good kick to the legs, and it's really, really affecting this fighter over here. This guy is starting to really feel the pain, and then he's trying to do this. This stance is sort of like, you got me good, but you're trying to appear bigger because you still want to be like, okay, I wasn't hurt. You don't intimidate me kind of thing. And Buakaw is just in a very, his right foot's a little light over here. He got a little bit more weight over there, and he's sort of trying to scout out his next move, his next head of combination. And this guy's just trying to do his best to just be like, okay, I'm good. So, distance, a little bit of shot. The key here now is, now that you've weakened his balance a little and his power base, now you can just keep going because the resistance is going to be a little bit minimal to the knees.
やっぱね、今の選手って武器がやっぱり上で取られてたんで、上でやっぱりやりにくいんですよね。そうなんでしょうね。
Pretty good couple of good shots, and another knee. Oh fuck, man! Like, kudos to the Japanese fighters for standing still, because I'm telling you right now. Well, maybe because I'm not in the best shape at all, but fuck! Like I've been kneed when I used to do Muay Thai. There's a reason why I'm some amateur just reacting to the content and actually being in the ring, because I was not able to handle any of these. So knee, couple body shots, and then knee to the sternum. The sternum is an interesting area to aim because I think, from what I remember, if you punch the sternum, it's kind of hard, so you can damage your hands. It's generally not an effective area to hit either, but if you do hit the sternum enough times, it can. I don't know if this is true. You can collapse your rib cages, which is something that is at risk. So your body, generally speaking, doesn't want to take hits on the sternum. If you hit it a couple of times, your body's kind of automatically trying to avoid the hit to the sternum. It's a very dangerous area to damage. So that knee, a lot of people will go down to that knee up to the sternum. And you can tell from his face. He's just like, oh fuck. He's probably never been hit like that either. If I'm thinking about kickboxing, he probably has never been kneed to the sternum. That thing, you almost are scared because you can feel your sternum kind of take it, but you can also feel like it's spread up to your rib cage, and you're just like, oh fuck, like I kind of don't want. I don't want this. That person might know the fighter over here, but again, he's outmatched. Another clinch. The problem with the clinching here is the Japanese fighter is using the clinch to stall, but he has not learned that Buakaw is at his best in these clinches, and Buakaw is going to take advantage of that. It's at this point you know that Buakaw basically has control of the fight. The guy is just trying to get out of the round. So Buakaw goes another kick. Pretty good punch. It's a pretty good punch. I think he does nail Buakaw a little, but because this guy has to reach a little bit farther, it does lose a little bit of power. And the transfer of energy is from like the very end of the punch, as opposed to having some momentum into it. And then, of course, when Buakaw uses a kick, it's good that Buakaw is using a lot of kicks because the opponent is taller. So, the legs create a lot of good distance management, and Buakaw is not even using teeps, and the distance management created here is affecting this fighter, the Japanese fighter, because he is punching, he has the better reach on the hands, and he is hitting Buakaw a little on some of his counters and some of his hits. But because the legs, generally speaking, can give you a little bit more distance, it's not the distance he's accustomed to, because he's used to probably people coming in with more of a punch, and that's a lot easier, especially if he's taller. But because the kicks are coming in, it's not something that they're accustomed to. At least that's my opinion from what I'm seeing. And a knee to the ass again, a throw around, and then a kick. And again, that's just, you hit me, I'm gonna fucking smack you back. Like, for every one hit this guy's getting in, Buakaw is getting 2 or 3, and just showcasing sheer dominance. Just like, yeah, you hit me, but I'm gonna fucking hurt you. The arm is protecting the body shots. But again, the arm can also only take so much. You can take away a lot with a lot of knees, because you start affecting all the body parts, and then the body will naturally protect stuff. And then once the hand starts getting weak, then that makes their head very, very vulnerable, because their hand's not going to react the same way. It's going to be very hurt. It's actually how I think it's Mike Zambides. That's how Buakaw beat him. He just beat the living shit out of his hand, and I'm just like, boy, am I glad I'm not in the ring, man. And then just goes with a knee spree, and this Japanese fighter is just like, thank God. And then Buakaw, like, you can see from his face, sheer confidence. This guy knows he has him. Like, just based on the body language, this guy is honestly, like, based on his body language, he's kind of just like, I wouldn't say he's given up, but he's just kind of like, oh fuck, what do I do? But you see Buakaw is just like, yeah, I got this. You don't walk away like he's in pain. Look. Yo, especially if this is your first time, man. It's not easy, man. I feel for him, but again, don't disrespect a fighter like that the way he did. Honestly, those kicks don't look as solid as Buakaw's. Mainly because of the Muay Thai stance. Not the Muay Thai stance. That has something to do with it. But the legs are a little weak. This guy's legs are a little weak. I didn't see as much hip thrusting motion as well. It didn't. They were strong. Don't get me wrong. But he picks it up. The knees. This guy tried to come out guns a-blazing, and then just gets countered. I think Buakaw just reach his head a little bit, and then just knees the shit out of him. And you can see this arm is trying to protect the body, where he's been getting that. Like, Buakaw has been targeting that section ever since he started kneeing him in the first place, and he's really trying to protect it, but that just fucks up your arm, man. This guy has taken a shit amount, because like, even in other fights that you watch, you don't see someone take this amount of knees. So I huge respect to this guy, with the ultimate, Japanese warrior mentality. But fuck, he's just being thrown around, man. That that's he's almost defeated. He almost just wants to like give up. To be honest, that's the face that it looks like. But he's not going to, because again, he's a fighter. He's a warrior. Huge respects to him for that. So there was a front kick to the face, and then this guy, he's done. The ref is saving that. Oh, fuck me, man. Like, Buakaw didn't even use those front kicks up until now. So that's a whole new thing that you're not accustomed to, and you're just like, oh fuck, I can't even handle the knees, and you're just fucking kicking me. And he's getting pretty high. Buakaw's getting pretty high with the front kicks, and then another kick. And then a couple of shots that really didn't mean anything, because Buakaw is too close for those punches to matter. And this guy's body is just so weak that honestly, those punches, for a regular person, they probably would have hurt. But, if you're a seasoned fighter, it's kind of minimal. Like, the ref, I feel, try to play it out because they're trying to get their homeboy over here some extra points with the judges, but it honestly, based on the sheer dominance that Buakaw displayed, I feel like it should have been stopped prior to this, because the guy in this round literally had like two to three kicks, and like I swear 3 punches that landed, compared to like I swear Buakaw probably had at least 20 hits on this guy. So honestly, that guy, and then very, very honorable, very, very sportsman. It's nice to see, even though the guy kind of snaked him, but that guy must have been feeling it for days, man. I feel bad for him. Just seeing all that shit, man. Ugh. Anyways, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to this fight. It's, you gotta respect the rules that you're both playing with. There's actually another video of Buakaw getting fucked over by rules, kind of, but not in the same setting, not in the same way. And yeah, it's super interesting to break down fights. I like watching body language too of fighters. It's very interesting. The context of this is that Buakaw did have a huge advantage because he was using a lot of methods that K1's never seen, right? So a lot of the fighters just weren't accustomed to it. A lot of people do say it was kind of unfair what K1 did, but I like to change the rules. But I kind of agree with K1 in the sense that they allowed Buakaw certain things that he could do, but not something that would over dominate the field, especially with a lot of fighters who are more accustomed to kickboxing than they are to the Muay Thai fighting style. So I think that there was a lot of fairness in that. But then if you keep looking into this, Buakaw, there are some fighters who are known to be really, get cheated out of wins and opportunities and stuff like that. But I feel like Buakaw is definitely on the top of the list. Anyways, yeah, that's everything. Hopefully you enjoyed this chat, and if you agree, disagree, if you have any input, let me know. All right, thank you very much. Later days.